This is SGTV Podcast. I'm Luke Baker. My second guest in Meet the Hi Teresa Crew series is Marisa Bank. She is the executive producer and also plays the main character, Teresa. I sat down and talked with her about living in Columbia, participating in theater, her experiences in college, and also her involvement in SGTV. Thank you for sitting down with me and having a conversation.
Not a problem at all.
So first off, where are you from?
I am actually from here in Columbia, so just a 15-minute drive home, actually.
Born and raised?
Born and raised, yep.
How would you describe your parents?
Well, my parents, they divorced when I was like 3, and I started out going to my dad's every other weekend, but then that kind of faded away, so I lived with my mom most of the time, and my brothers and sisters moved out pretty early, so it was me and her a lot of the time. So definitely very close with my mom. She's really fun, casual, TV dinners every night. Just fun person to be around. Sometimes a little annoying at times, just constantly wanting to talk to me and call me and everything. But she's very loving and caring, and just a all-around great person. I really look up to her. My dad, I don't know him as well just because I haven't lived with him, but I usually see him like once a week or once every 2 to 3 weeks. But he's a little awkward, and he's a doctor, so he's just very like, okay, how's it going, Russ? Okay, great. Good to see you. Straight to the point. All right.
Yeah,
and as he's gotten older, he's gotten a little more like caring and has loosened up a little bit. But yeah, he's still a pretty good dad.
So you have, I guess you mentioned you have brothers and sisters, or are they older than you or younger? Or?
Yeah, so they're all older. I actually have an older half sister on my dad's side who is 43, and she has 2 kids. So I became an aunt when I was like 9. And then so her name is Sarah. She lives in Florida, so we don't really see her. But my other sister Maggie, she's 33, 10 years younger than her, and she also has 2 kids. I'm really close with my niece Hayden, who is 6 years old. Very fun and cute. I wish I could see her more. But they live in Lexington, so it's a good 20-30 minute drive, so I don't really see them that much, but not as much as I would like to. And then I have a brother named Bobby who is 26, I think. He's a lawyer. He works with the state. He's a lot like my dad, very just straight to the point.
He's type A.
Yeah. Sort of. He definitely cares a lot, but he just doesn't always show it. So, and he lives like here in Columbia too. So, we're just both so busy. It's hard to find the time.
Seems like there's a big age gap there. So
yeah.
Most of the time you were growing up, just you and your mom, I guess, for the most part.
Yeah, everyone kind of, by the time I was starting high school, everyone had moved out. So, and I never really lived with my sisters that I remember. I guess I did when I was like really young. But I lived with my brother for most of my childhood. So a very love-hate relationship there. Got tortured a lot and bullied, but what else is new between brothers and sisters? So, but yeah, it was me and my mom for a lot of it. So.
You have any like family traditions you used to do? Like, I know everybody has like pizza night, or you'd go see the movies, or.
Me and my mom would sometimes have like Friday night pizza. If I had like friends over, whenever I had friends, whenever we wanted to do sleepovers, we would always come to my house because there weren't dogs running around, there weren't kids running around, there weren't 2 parents telling us what to do. There was just my mom, and she was just like, hey, do whatever you want. So like me and my friends would always come to my house. So we would always like, there's like a balcony on the second floor that you can look down on the first floor. And we would always like throw pillows and blankets over it to like set up our sleepover downstairs, and then we would get Friday night pizza. So that was always a fun one. And then we have Sunday night dinners sometimes, definitely not as often anymore. But my brother still goes over there every Sunday, and I do when I can. And we'll just she'll make a dinner, and then we'll just eat those leftovers for the rest of the week or whatever it is. So I feel like a lot of people probably have that tradition, but.
Yeah. So where'd you go to high school?
I went to AC Flora, which is in Columbia, of course, public high school. Pretty big school, not terribly small, not terribly big. AC Flora Falcons. So.
How was your time there? Were you part of any clubs or groups or?
I was a big part of the theater department. I did a lot of acting. My freshman year I didn't really do much of that, but starting with my second year there, I was in. I think we did West Side Story, and then the next year we did, and I was just a supporting character in that. And then my junior year we did West Side Story, and that was the first one. My second one we did Guys and Dolls, and I played one of the co-stars, Adelaide or whatever. So that was a musical. And I'm not much of a singer, but so we didn't have much of a theater department, so I didn't have to be a great singer to be in it, but I was in it.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then my last year we did Mulan, and I actually got to play Mulan.
Wow,
So theater was definitely a big part of my high school career.
How'd you get into filming, movies? Did you watch a lot of movies, or were you just more theater? Or?
It was definitely more theater. I've been in the plays since elementary school, and I just always kind of liked it, and I always loved the behind the scenes stuff, and just the experience of going through a show and getting stuff ready backstage and fixing up everything to get ready for the show. It was just always a lot of fun for me, and I honestly I always loved old movies and things like that, but I never really had much of an interest to be working with film. But I took a media arts class my freshman year, and I really liked it, and I thought it was cool, kind of the behind the scenes stuff, filming and all that. And I always also liked photography, so I had a little experience with the camera. And then kind of started with SGTV, and now I love it. So
interesting. So switching gears a little bit here, what was your first serious relationship?
Oh, goodness.
Or your definition of serious relationship?
It was my sophomore year of high school. I dated a guy I guess it was my junior year, actually. He was 2 years younger than me. So I always got a little nickname made fun of for that, but dating the freshman. But we dated for a year and a half up until I went to college, and he was actually going to the governor's school, so he was also leaving, so it just kind of broke away there. But yeah, that was my first really long-term relationship. I had maybe a boyfriend for a few months, but that was probably my first one though. Yeah.
So you are dating Michael now?
Yes.
Station manager here. So how did you meet him? I guess obviously from SGTV. And
we actually met in that first media arts class that I took my freshman year. Yeah. So it was right before summer. We had a study group session, and we were both in the group, and we decided to go get dinner. And that's where it all started. So, yeah. And we've been dating for over a year now, so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Still going strong.
Going strong.
Why did you choose USC? How did you? Obviously, you're from Columbia and just down the road here.
I applied to a few other schools. I didn't apply anywhere else in state. I knew if I was going to go in state, I was just going to stay here because there just weren't any other big universities, and I definitely wanted an urban environment. I applied to like NYU, a couple schools in Chicago because I've got family there, and I think Boston and Florida because my sister lives there. And, like, I got into a few of them, but it was more just an expenses thing. It was so much cheaper to go here. I got scholarships, and I also got into the honors college, so it just made sense to go here. Kind of defaulted, but not a huge Gamecock fan or anything, but just was the best option.
So what was your first experience leaving home from there? Obviously, you probably weren't too far away, but it's a big change regardless.
I've always tended to be a homebody. Even going for one night to sleepover, I was like, I don't want to go. I'm going to miss my mom because we were just so close, and I just didn't like pulling away. So it was definitely weird because even being 15 minutes away, you're still in a whole nother world. You're not at home. So I was in a dorm my freshman year, and I definitely still saw my mom a lot because I didn't have a lot going on freshman year. Didn't really make a whole lot of friends. Was kind of just a loner. So I still went home quite a bit more than I do now. As I've progressed more, and like now I'm in my own house, I miss it, and it's nice to go home sometimes, but I've definitely progressed and grown into being okay with being away from home. So,
what are your majors and minors? You have multiple, or just one or two? Or?
I'm a business major with a double major in marketing and management, and then my minor is media arts. I actually just declared that my sophomore year, so I was a little behind the curve. Didn't really know what I wanted to do for a while. I was all over the place. I thought maybe media arts major, but I decided that I liked more the business side as opposed to the creative side. So I decided to go with that as a minor and just stick to business. Again, I kind of defaulted to it, didn't really know what to do, so I figured business might be the best option. And now that I've chosen it and I'm taking classes and everything, I think I'm really glad with the mixture I have. I get to take those business classes and I'll get to leave here with that business degree, but I also have a fun class every semester where I get to do like fun media arts stuff. Like this semester I'm in an experimental class, but I also have 3 other business classes, so I think it's a good mixture for what I want to do.
Gives you nice change in the day or
that
kind of stuff, and what you like. What do you think your most important course you've taken so far in college has been?
Most important, or one that I've liked the most?
I guess the one that you felt like you learned the most, you got the most out of it, or you really enjoyed it.
Oh, goodness. Well, I've definitely enjoyed my media arts classes more, obviously. I feel like as I take more business classes, I'll find the ones that I enjoy. Right now, it's just like, oh, this sucks. None of these are fun because they're just stupid, boring business classes. So I guess maybe honestly, maybe the experimental film class I'm in now has been like the most fun. Just because we get to do so many different things with like film and processing and kind of do what we want, which I don't always. I sometimes, try to stay away from like, oh, you can do whatever you want because it's kind of scary. But it's good that I'm like immersing myself in that. So,
how would your favorite professor describe you?
Well, I don't really talk in classes much, so...
But, the class that maybe you've done the most well at or felt like you've done the most, like, if they're like, hey, I see Marisa in class and she's blank.
Probably just, like, well-organized, on time with everything, she does pretty well on her tests, just kind of that definition of a good student, I guess. I don't think they would say, like, talkative or way out there or anything. So.
What do you think your most important most important lesson that you've learned outside the classroom, whether it be life lesson or just something you gained experience-wise?
Well, that's a tough question, but I guess being in a school environment, the first thing that comes to mind is just like time management and making sure that you're not focusing and this could work in the work environment as well, but not focusing everything on like that due date. I tend to do that. I'm just like, I have to get this done, but then I think, am I gonna not get a job later because I made a C on this test? Like, do I need to spend 5 hours studying and not go hang out with my friends or something? So just like, I guess the lesson would be to learn how to balance work and fun in a way that isn't too much one way. Yeah.
It's where you don't get overstressed on either one.
Yeah.
Too lean on the other one.
Yeah.
Just finding that balance.
Yeah.
That's hard to do.
It is. Really is. It's very hard.
Tell me about one of your biggest mistakes you've made in college.
Oh, God. Well, I'm not... it would probably be something like school-related, just because I don't... not like a huge party or anything, so...
Well, I mean, just something a mistake that you made that you kind of learned from, or, something like that.
Probably just not... I always stress about every little thing, and that's probably the biggest mistake I've made. I've wasted so much time stressing about stupid things that don't matter and that probably aren't going to change just because I'm stressing about them. So probably just that I've wasted so much time over stress. That's not necessary.
Yeah. I sometimes get like that too, to where it's like you put so much effort into it, and you're just like, man, what was the point of that?
It was worthless. It did nothing to help you at all.
How do you think you've changed personally since you've been in college?
I've changed a lot. My freshman year, as I said before, I was very introverted. I really maybe made 1 to 2 friends. I mean, I had a lot of friends from high school that came here, so that helped. But I had a single dorm, so I didn't have a roommate to be best friends with. I was very introverted and kept to myself, didn't try to put myself out there at all. Sounds like Teresa, and I relate so much with her character in that way, because we're both shy. We're kind of trying to progress from that. So like, as I've I think SGTV is really what brought me out of my shell. Freshman year, I would have never thought that I would be in an exec position with a student organization. Never would have thought that. And like now I don't have a problem like talking to people, I do sometimes, of course, but I'm much more extroverted, not as afraid to talk to people. It's made me not as afraid to talk in class or not as afraid to talk. Like we went to the Philadelphia conference and I wasn't afraid to ask a question. But if I had gone freshman year, wouldn't have said a word.
The back of the room.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You said you led a group or something, or
we did. We the advisor didn't show up, so we decided to start our own roundtable because we figured the people in the room were actually TV people, so we figured we might as well talk to them, and we weren't going to be able to go to the session that actually was a TV roundtable because we were leaving. So yeah, we decided just to do that, and it was just, I didn't mind talking about the show and like saying how we do things, and it was a lot of fun.
What was that like? Was it like how was it different from like what other people did?
Well, a lot of the schools were small schools. There was one that was trying to start up like a newscast from like a newspaper. They didn't have a TV station. And a lot of people didn't tell us much, but there was one guy who talked about that they have a few shows that they do, like an entertainment type show, like Talk of the Town and things like that. But they were very curious about the sitcom and how we go about writing and planning, and like the fact that we have actors was crazy to them. So yeah, it was interesting to get a different perspective for sure.
Describe to me what's your ideal job after graduation, or after college, or a few years after. What do you want to do with that?
So my main goal is just media management, so the business side of media, which is why I enjoy the operations management job that I also have with SGTV, because it's a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. I like still being involved with creative decisions, but not as much as I enjoy directing them. So I think it'd be so cool you see all those movie credits, after watching the movie, and there's so many titles, and it's like, I would just like to be one of those titles that's kind of behind the scenes. And it'd be cool to be a star as well, but just working on behind the scenes on a TV show set or something like that. Yeah. So that would be cool.
So if you could start college all over again, knowing what you know now, what would you do differently?
I would have a roommate freshman year. If I had a roommate, I think that would have been one friend that would have helped me get out there more. I also would have joined a couple more organizations freshman year. I don't think I joined any. So
what made you, did you choose to do a single one, or was that your decision?
Yeah, I chose to do it because I was like, I don't want to share a room with anybody, because I've always had my own room. So yeah, I would have probably decided to get a roommate, even if it made me uncomfortable. I think it would have benefited my freshman year a lot more.
So moving on to SGTV, how did you get started with it, or did you initially go your first semester? Did you do it later?
I went my second semester. Me and my friend McQuell wanted to get involved with student media, and so we were like, oh, let's go join SGTV. And so we went through training and everything, and then we did nothing with it. We just didn't go to anything. We didn't come back for anything. And then I started seeing Michael, and he was with SGTV, and he's honestly probably what brought me back into it.
Pulled you back in there.
Yeah. So I retrained my first semester of sophomore year, and I thought it was. I think what also brought me in was the fact that there was a sitcom show that hadn't been there before. And that was kind of my dream, was to work on the set of a TV show, so, and also act. I've been trying to get involved with theater and stuff, but I wasn't able to kind of get into it because you're not a theater major, so it's hard. So being able to act on a TV show was also oh wow, that's so cool. So that's probably what brought me into it. Just having Hi Teresa available was very incredible to me at the time.
What do you think your favorite part has been so far, being part of SGTV?
Seeing that I can somewhat lead people. I'm probably not the best at it. I don't think anybody is. It's always a work in progress, but just seeing that how I've grown, I think, has been my favorite part.
Now, you said you obviously sort of joined pretty much last year.
Yeah.
How did Hi Teresa get started? I know, obviously, the creator, Sarah, talked about it, and what was your part in, I guess, the creation of the show?
Well, the idea for the show and the name for the show was already there. Sarah had created all that. She had the basic idea of what she wanted, some awkward college kids who go to an AA meeting that is not an AA meeting. So that was already there. I remember our first meeting, we had it in the library, and we all like sat in this tiny room and like talked about cool character ideas. Sarah and we were surprised because we thought there would be like characters done and like all that, but she was like, what do you guys want to write about? And so we just kind of came up with these characters, and then she started writing the script. So I probably had a more of a part in like how like the character developments and stuff. She was more the main writer. There wasn't, I mean, I would like look over it once I became producer. I would look over it and stuff, but yeah, and also just helping with organizing production dates and stuff. And then when I realized I was kind of doing a little more work than a lot of the cast members and I enjoyed it, I decided I wanted to apply for producer, and Sarah had been thinking she kind of needed a second person there to help her because it was a little too much work for her, understandably, obviously. And so once we started producing together, you know, just doing production dates and filming and trying to get everybody there and editing and all that. So, yeah.
Now, how did you, was it, I guess the conception, how did you become Teresa? Was it just like somebody that she already had in mind, or you're like, all right, I'm going to be
yes.
this? Or...
So I think she kind of already had an idea for how Teresa would be, if I remember correctly. It's been so long now. But we kind of added traits to that, like, oh, she's like really awkward and just doesn't know how to talk to people. And we were just like, I mean, really, it was like, oh, like, who wants to play Teresa? I guess I will. I mean, I'm a lot like her, so, and that's kind of how all the characters were, like, I guess I'll play him, or, you know, so yeah, and just the fact that she was so relatable was why I wanted to be her, or play her.
So can you tell me any, like, funny stories that happens on the set, you know, like in the past seasons, or anything that sticks out in mind?
Oh, gosh. I mean, you can go watch the bloopers, but there was, the only one that is coming to mind for some reason is when we were filming. There was this whole thing that Rick always had chocolate milk with him because that was his alcohol, basically.
Substitute.
Yeah. And so we were filming a scene, and he had the milk, and so, for some reason, we were filming him walking up, and I was holding the milk, and we were like, oh, wait, you have to be holding the milk. And so we were outside on the, on the bricks on the horseshoe, and so I just, threw it to him, and it didn't make it, and it went to the ground and just went and splattered everywhere, and that was really funny. That's the one that I can we were so upset because we got video but we didn't get the audio for some reason,
so it's just a silent thing,
yeah,
throwing it and then just snatches.
Yeah, so, and just whenever we have big scenes with all the characters is always so much more fun than a one person scene, just because you have all the character interactions, and it's more laughs for sure.
What's been the best part of working on the show for you?
I think getting to know everybody. Just because, with some of the other shows, you definitely CCS and Talk of the Town. I guess Talk of the Town maybe, but you don't always have as much interactions with everybody. With Hi Teresa, it's really like a family. Michael has said this before, we're really the one show that is just so tightly knit, just because it's always the same actors and we're always working together. So I think the fact that we've kind of made the show our own family has definitely been my favorite part.
What do you think has been the most challenging part of working on the show?
Getting people to be there and be committed. It's always tough trying to get a filming date and being like, oh, why is everybody late? Because when I feel so dedicated and I get there 15 minutes early, get equipment ready, do all that, it's hard sometimes to see that nobody else wants to do that. I know that, they like the show and they love being on it, but it's frustrating sometimes when you and the other producer, or just couple other people are, the only ones doing a lot of the work. So I guess trying to motivate people has been the hardest part.
What's the series finale going to be like for you? I know it's coming up, or is it going to... Just glad it's over, or kind of bittersweet, or...
It's definitely bittersweet, because I know that it's time for it to end, and I've been trying not to think about it just because it sucks. I mean, it's been so fun working with everybody and, like, being this family, and I'm afraid that we're not gonna be a family anymore. I mean, we'll always, of course, be friends. It's just, it's sad when, we won't all get to work together as much anymore, and it's been such a great show. I felt bad deciding to, we all kind of decided that it was probably time to end it, just because, everything's getting kind of burnt out, and we don't want it to end on a low note. We want it to end on a high note. So, it's sad, but it's definitely time.
What's your involvement going to be in the next show, or when they were created, or are you kind of want to step aside, or you want to help out a little bit, or?
Kind of on the fence right now. I got to kind of see what my next semester looks like. Haven't quite decided.
So still thinking about it?
Yeah.
Now, one final question here is, what is your plan for SGTV, like in the future, next semester? What do you hope to do? You want to do any new shows, or stay with some other ones, or?
I definitely want to keep my involvement with whatever show is created. And I think that I would also like to have a little more experience with the other shows, because I've been like co-producer and I'm operations manager, and like it's hard to like try, like I really want to do some other segments, or like help out high school headquarters, but it's like I have so much on my plate that I can't. So maybe trying to widen my experience a little bit, and like, maybe try a news segment. I've never done news, but maybe I could try it. I think that would be really cool to not just work with Hi Teresa, or whatever show is created, but also try to do a segment on Talk of the Town, or help out with high school headquarters.
Just experiment in all the different programs.
Yeah, for sure. Get the full SGTV experience. So
that's great. Well, thank you for stopping by and sitting down for an interview. It's been great. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I had fun. Yeah. I had fun talking about everything. So thanks, Luke. So I guess that wasn't the best thing to say. But I mean, it was true. She really is too obsessive.